So today we're sitting down with Jenna Prasad, sustainability engineer at Ambient, to talk about things sustainability in the HVAC world. So let's get into it, Jenna. So first of all, tell me, what does your day-to-day job look like?
Yeah, sure. So I oversee all of Ambient's internal and external sustainability efforts. So that's across Ambient and all of our partner companies. So what that means is internally, we're focusing on tracking and reducing our carbon footprint across all of our offices and service vehicle fleets. And then externally, we're looking for ways to promote and develop products with manufacturers to make sure that we're supporting our customers' sustainability goals and making sure that they comply with and stay ahead of all sorts of regulations that are coming into play.
Nice. So tell me, what are scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions, and which ones do you typically focus on the most?
Sure. So Scope 1 emissions, those are emissions that you are generating directly from property and vehicles you own. So in Ambient's case, that's going to be predominantly our service vehicles. It's going to be the fuel that we are using for heating in all of our offices, and it's going to be combustion on site. That's mainly what we focus on when it comes to Scope 1. Scope 2, which is also a really big category for us, that's more indirect emissions, so emissions for fuel that you pay for. So electricity is a great example of that, or purchased electricity through all of our offices. That makes up the bulk of our Scope 2 emissions. Now Scope 3, that is the largest and by far most challenging category to track, because Scope 3 encompasses all of our upstream and downstream emissions through all of our operations. So that's focusing on emissions from the start of a product's lifetime all the way through to its disposal, and how that affects us and how we affect the amount of CO2 it produces as it goes up to down.
Excellent. What would you say are your biggest wins this past year in terms of sustainability at Ambient?
Yeah, sure. So our biggest win is that we, for the first time, were able to track our Scope 3 emissions. So we tracked those effectively for 2024. That's something that we're really proud of, being able to take a look at not only our internal efforts, but being able to take a more product-focused look, collaborate with our manufacturers, and figure out exactly how much energy, how much CO2 the products that we sell are then emitting after they've been used by our customers all the way through to the end of their lives. Another big win for us is that we have once again been able to reduce our emissions intensity, specifically for Scope 1 and 2 emissions. That was a big win for us as well.
So tell me, what are we doing to reduce emissions in our service fleet?
Sure. So in our service fleets, we are doing a couple things to make sure that we are reducing emissions and improving our efficiency. The first being that we're starting to introduce hybrids into our fleets in small batches across the country. So being able to increase the ratio of hybrids to non-hybrid vehicles is helping us keep our CO2 emissions a little bit lower. Another thing we're doing is starting to employ GPS for route optimization. So that's decreasing travel time, decreasing distance, and effectively putting less CO2 into the air from the fuel.
What are we doing in our offices and warehouses specifically?
Sure. So one of the most important aspects of our sustainability program here at Ambient is making sure that we're in contact with all offices under Ambient and all of our partner companies to make sure that we're tracking and monitoring our electricity usage and our heating usage. For Scope 2 specifically, we take a look at our electricity usage, figuring out which offices are the largest, the highest emitters, figuring out if we should do energy audits at those offices, seeing how we can make those offices more green, whether that be LED retrofits, switching out old appliances, just making sure that all offices are up to date, starting with the largest ones.
Excellent. How does battery storage and EV infrastructure play a role in what you do?
Yeah, so electric vehicles as a whole have been great for emissions reduction across the country. So being able to support EV infrastructure in that regard is making sure that, for our customers and clients who have EVs, who have tenants who have EVs, we're supporting that growth and development, supporting the EV industry as a whole. It's the same thing for battery storage. It's stabilizing the grid and supporting electrification in a way that we're able to support as well by, employing battery storage tech.
Can you give us an example of one sustainable HVAC project that you're particularly proud of at the moment?
Yeah, so one of the projects from 2024 that Ambient was most proud of came through GBHLS. They worked at the Petrocelli Surgical Pavilion and they installed modular wall panels, which allows for reduction of waste, construction waste. It allows for improvements in install time, and it's making sure that we're future-proofing the operating rooms at that site. Because what you can do is when new tech comes in, instead of tearing down walls to replace the ORs, you can just switch out the panels. So that was a big effort for reducing waste, which is great.
What are we doing with refrigerants and decarbonization in our world?
Sure. So the entire HVAC industry is once again going through a transition from some of the most popular refrigerants, R410A and such, to refrigerant that has a lower global warming potential. So that's R32, R454B, and some with even lower global warming potential like CO2. Ammonia along that line. So what we're doing is we're making sure that the manufacturers that we're partnering with are employing these new refrigerants, meeting federal government regulations and upcoming state and local regulations, making sure that we're staying in line with the timelines for selling units that have these new lower global warming potentials. And what we're also doing is working with manufacturers with the lowest global warming potentials like CO2, and making sure that we're promoting those types of products, facilitating their development and integration into the environment around us.
Right. A lot of exciting stuff coming up in the CO2 world.
Yes.
In the next few years, right?
100%, yeah.
So tell me about the Empire Technology Prize and why being named as a finalist was so meaningful for us in Ambient and our partners.
Yeah, so the Empire Technology Prize is a prize developed by New York State to support the development and integration of low-carbon heating solutions for New York high-rise buildings into the New York market. So Ambient, Gilbar, which is one of Ambient's partner companies in the New York area, and our manufacturer partner Flow Environmental Systems have been named a finalist due to our partnership in low-carbon heating solutions for CO2 in New York. And we're really, really proud of that recognition because for us, it's a testament to our partnership and how we're going to be able to support all of New York and all of the country use CO2 and other low GWP refrigerants and products that are sustainable. So it's just to show that our work is being recognized and that we're doing good things here.
So Ambient has a lot of different teams, a lot of different regions. A lot of them have kind of their own way of doing things that has made them successful over the past few decades, right? How do you get people within Ambient to kind of buy into this program and what makes it meaningful for each employee?
Yeah, so I think there's two factors to this, the internal and the external factor. So internally, when we're looking at Ambient and all of our partner companies, all of our companies are different and they need different things at each location. So being able to kind of introduce the sustainability program to each company and say, this is what we're doing, this is how we can support you, and this is how we can help you be better environmental stewards in your area for yourselves, your employees, and for your customers. That's been really receptive. People across Ambient, I mean, it's obvious that everyone cares a lot about making sure that we're protecting our environments because that means protecting our families. Right. So that's something that's always been a really core value to Ambient and all of our companies across the board. And then from an external perspective, you know, we're looking at companies of all sizes across all different regions of the United States with different, you know, regulatory requirements, different customers with different needs on that front. So being able to engage with all of our companies, we're able to figure out exactly what each company's customer needs. How can we support everyone individually? And that's, you know, the great thing about having a sustainability program in Ambient that can support, you know, the local development as well.
What would you say the biggest challenge that you run into is on a daily or monthly or even yearly basis?
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge for us in terms of sustainability is balancing the cost of sustainable products. I think a lot of times we'll have customers who are really interested in decarbonizing, being more sustainable, reducing emissions. And sometimes that upfront cost can be a struggle to get a customer ahead of. It can be resolved because then you can balance the upfront cost with energy savings a lot of the time. So it's just figuring out how to make sure that a sustainable product is not just sustainable environmentally for a customer, but also from a cost perspective. But that's something that all of our teams have been really hitting our stride in.
Yeah. It's always been the balance, right? Cost versus, or upfront cost versus the cost savings you're going to get in the long run by saving energy. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell us, what's next for sustainability at Ambient? What does our program look like over the next year or so and beyond?
Yeah. So, I mean, every time that we're looking at our emissions, that's an ongoing process. We are working really hard to continue improving the accuracy of our data collection, and every year we are able to collect and analyze data on a level that's past what we did the previous year. I mean, like I said before, this is the first year that we're able to track our Scope 3 emissions, and next year we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it better. And that's how it's going to be continually. We're going to continue to have that. We're going to continue to keep our sustainability commitments. We're going to continue to work with our manufacturers to produce sustainable, low-carbon products that we can get into the hands of our customers in a way that balances cost and emissions reduction. So it's really just continuing to support the goals that every employee here at Ambient shares and that are also echoed through our customers, making sure that we're able to support that and just increasing our ability to do so.
Great. So what's your final message for the industry? If you only had one last thing to say, what would that be?
I think I would say that sustainability in our space is hard, but it's achievable, and every step is a step forward. And I think if people keep that in mind, then we'll all move in the right direction.
So never stop.
Never stop.
All right. Well, Jenna, thanks for your time today, and as always.